Good evening, everyone. Welcome. What an amazing turnout for this evening's event. Before we go ahead and get started, I just would like to call out, we do have some empty seats, so please don't be shy. Come on up, grab a seat, and make yourself at home. A couple of things, I'd like to begin by saying this is our first event like this that we have ever had. We've done a State of the City before, but it was always hosted by the Chamber of Commerce, and they changed the format. And so in the new format with the Chamber of Commerce, it is State of the Cities. And so it is not only Wayzata, but Minnetonka, Plymouth, and Long Lake. But we wanted to focus on our residents, our accomplishments, answer your questions specifically, and really open it up beyond a Chamber of Commerce event. So welcome. We are very excited. So a new layout, new program, and let's get started. So I'd like to welcome you all to the State of the City. We are so excited to see so many community members here joining us today. We are going to discuss and learn about the state of Wayzata. For those who don't know, my name is Johanna Mouton. I am your mayor, and I have proudly served you as your mayor for the last 4 years, and as a council member for the 6 years prior to that. When you sat down this evening, there's a blue folder in your seat. Inside, you will find slips to fill out for our Q&A session at the end of the program. There's also a QR code for the next activity, a copy of the annual report, and other helpful city information that I will point out to you as we go through the program. But to start, we're going to take a little trip back in time to grade school, high school, and we're going to do a little pop quiz. So if you could please pull out your phones and scan the QR code that's up on the screen or in your folder. We are going to test your knowledge of the city of Wayzata. I know. This will be fun. I promise. So we're going to ask you to scan the code, and you're going to answer some questions. We will give you 5 minutes to answer those questions and give your best answer. And then I'd like to know, keep track of this yourself, because we're not tracking who answers what question correctly, but I think I'm going to ask who gets them all right. And we might have to have a special mayor's proclamation. All right. So answer all 6 questions, hit submit. If you need any help, please don't hesitate to raise your hand, and we'll have a member of staff come and help you. Do we have the Jeopardy countdown? So remember to hit submit when you're done answering the questions. All right. So we thank you for taking the time to answer the first question. The first one here, do you live in Wayzata, do you work in Wayzata, or do you come and visit Wayzata? And look at that, 60% of our respondents, of you, have answered, oh, look at that. Someone changed their mind. And now they're back. So, welcome back to Wayzata. 60% of you live in Wayzata. And in second place, you work in Wayzata. And then 10% of you who are visiting with us today, or who are here with us today, visit Wayzata. And we appreciate all of you, whether you're a resident, you come here during the day to work, or you come to visit and go shopping, run your errands, or go out to eat. So before we dive in, I want to introduce you to some very special and specific individuals who are in the room with us today. And I'm going to give you also a little background on the city as an organization. So I'm very proud of the people that I work with throughout the year and throughout my term. And they are people that work so incredibly hard every day for all of you. And those are my colleagues on the City Council. So when I call your name, I would ask that you please stand up. Councilmember Jeff Parkhill is not here today. He wasn't able to join us, but he sends his regards. We also have Councilmember Alex Plekish. Councilmember Kathy Iverson. And Councilmember Molly McDonald. The wonderful thing about working alongside these wonderful, very bright, very committed individuals is the respect we all have for one another. We don't always agree. We don't always see things the same way, but we have committed to ourselves and to all of you that our dialogue is always professional and respectful, and ultimately that we make the best decision for all of you every time we get up there at the dais. So thank you for all your hard work. Next, I want to recognize the individuals who work tirelessly every day here at City Hall. They really do the heavy lifting for all of us, both as a city council, for our boards and commissions, and for the residents. We have our city manager, Jeff Dahl. He has worked for the city since 2016. He's over along the wall there. Next to him is our deputy city manager, Aurora Yeager, who has been with us 4.5 years. Our police chief, Mark Schultz, who has been with us also for 4.5 years. You will also get to know Chief Schultz at Night to Unite in August. So you'll have an opportunity to speak to him if you didn't already this evening. We also have our fire chief, Kevin Clapbridge, who has been a Wayzata firefighter for 45 years. We also have in the room our community development director, Emily Gellner, who has been with us almost 5 years. I don't know if he's here. I didn't see him this evening, but our Public Works Director and City Engineer, Mike Kelly, who has been with us for over 30 years. Our managers of the Muni operations, we have Jeff Petrini of the Bar and Grill and Kevin Castellano of the liquor store, who have been here both for 9 years. Also joining us today are some other very important people. Kathy Learvig, our city clerk, she manages the elections. She manages so much in the day-to-day. She keeps us on the straight and narrow, making sure we follow all the rules, and she does a great job of it seamlessly. So please give her a round of applause. Our assistant city planner, Val Quarles, I don't believe she's here, but she does amazing work. We love her presentations when she comes before the council, and she has brought a newfound energy to City Hall. So please give her a round of applause as well. The next individual I'd like to introduce is our Parks and Environment Planner, who has recently been nicknamed PEP for short, because I get the titles wrong all the time. So it's Parks and Environment Planner Nick Keyser, or Pep Keyser. I think that nickname is just going to stick. I'm sorry, Nick. We have Deputy Police Chief Jamie Baker. There she is. That's a new position for us at the police department, and I couldn't be happier or prouder than having Deputy Chief Baker be part of our ranks. So, we also have Detective Sergeant Dan Lee in the house. All right. For those of you who may not know this, Dan and I basically started our careers together in Wayzata. He on the police department, and when I was on the fire department, and answered calls together. So it's kind of fun to see how things kind of come full circle. And then we have our communications coordinator, who is responsible for this amazing evening. I know not single-handedly, but she did most of the heavy lifting, Olivia Marandino. I apologize for the slight pause. Olivia has been, I'm still going to say newly married, so I'm still getting used to her new last name, her married name. And then we have Erin Eden, our HR generalist. I think I saw her previously. I think she's here. Erin is newer to the city, and we're so thrilled to have her. And then, of course, Lori Chrismer, who most of you have probably met. She's our administrative assistant. When you come to City Hall and have any questions, she will be the one to greet you. So I know we have more people here. We have our city forester, Bennett Marin. He is here. And who am I missing? I don't want to forget anybody. Our city attorney, David Schalzel, of course. Talk about someone who keeps us on the straight and narrow. Yeah. And we have more members of our police department here. So as an organization, we strive to exemplify our core values of teamwork, responsiveness, friendliness, and excellence. We carry these values through all of our services, from our cashiers at the liquor store to our snowplow drivers. And we sure like our snowplow drivers on those bad days, right? I would love to give you a quick look behind the curtain at City Hall offices. The culture is lively and fun, and it certainly includes lots of laughs and connections. In the employee survey conducted last year, one particular statistic really stood out for all of us, and I want to share that with all of you today. The majority of employees, upwards of 90%, care about the future of the city of Wayzata as an organization. It really shows how much of our city staff care about the community, the residents, and the work they do every day to make Wayzata a wonderful place. So as we move through the program, there are a couple of things that we're going to touch on. First is our roadmap of what we're going to cover. And there will be two important topics. The first is a reflection of the highlights and challenges of 2023. And second, we're going to look forward to our new strategic priorities for the next 3 years, 2024 through 2026. At the end of the program, there will be a Q&A led by City Manager Jeff Dahl. If you wish to have your questions answered, we would ask that you take the slips that are in your folder, fill those out, and then you can hand them to a staff member. If for some reason, we run out of time, we're not able to get to everybody's questions, we'll follow up with you. So please do leave your email address or your telephone number so that we can follow up. And if you're not comfortable filling out the form and you think of something at the last minute, please just raise your hand. We'd love to get to your question. Yes?
If you are in the middle of the road, just hand them down to your neighbor and we'll come around on you.
Everybody able to hear that? So if you're in the middle and you're not able to get up, feel free to just pass those down. All right, so highlights of 2023. So if you're interested, we'd ask that you please take a moment during or after today's program to check out our mission, vision, values, and strategic priorities. And those are all listed in our 2023 annual report. There will be copies available for you on your way out, but they're also inside your folders for you to take home. The report can also be found on our website, wayzata.org/annual report, and captures more in-depth department highlights from the last year. There are many things that staff work on tirelessly every single day, but today I want to highlight a handful of things that we are especially proud of. So we'll dive into 2023 and those highlights. The first one being, we are very excited about making the community more walkable. So you answered some questions on your phones, a pop quiz. And the first question was, what 3 initiatives did the city focus on in 2023 to lead to better walkability? So our 3 top answers are the Ferndale Road Sidewalk Connection, Panaway Lake Walk, and Wayzata Boulevard Corridor Study. You're right. Well done. All right, we're off to a good start. Fantastic. So we'll talk a few of those. Panaway Lake Walk. So Panaway, for those of you who don't know, grew out of the work of the Lake Effect Project, spending nearly a decade evaluating the needs of the community and developing a plan to restore, protect, and enhance Wayzata's downtown lakefront. It is funded by a public-private partnership led by the City of Wayzata, Three Rivers Park District, the State of Minnesota, and the Wayzata Conservancy, which is raising private funds for the project. For most of Wayzata's life as an established city, various options were researched for the lakefront. This year, construction began and is now well underway for the 1,200-foot-long lake walk that will stretch along the shoreline of Lake Minnetonka from the depot docks to the Broadway docks. This will be a stunning and well-thought-out enhanced connection to Lake Minnetonka. The lake walk is set to be complete by Memorial Day of this year, and we will be hosting a celebration event later in the summer for all to enjoy. So please save the date, July 13th. We are excited to celebrate the grand opening of the Panaway Lake Walk and docks with a ribbon cutting. There will be engaging elements for families, and we can't wait to celebrate with all of you. Stay tuned for more details. And if you'd like to donate to the Conservancy, Peter Hitch in the back of the room will gladly have a conversation with you and share more wonderful details about Panaway. Thank you, Peter. If you'd like to learn more about Panaway, please visit wayzata.org/Panaway Lake Walk Construction. The other element of our walkability was the Ferndale Sidewalk. So the city completed construction this year for a sidewalk on the east side of Ferndale Road between Wayzata Boulevard and Lake Street. It was a critical gap in our sidewalk and trail plan. This will improve public safety and already has, and makes our community more walkable. The third element in our walkability was the Wayzata Boulevard Corridor Study, and that has been approved by the City Council. The city has a vision to transform Wayzata Boulevard to an even more welcoming, safe, connected, and active corridor. We also are looking at many of the different aspects, including an active commerce center. How do we leverage that? How do we continue to evolve that with all of those other elements in mind? So after the establishment of the Wayzata Boulevard Corridor Study Committee and much community engagement, a plan has been developed with 4 key areas of study, including land use, development, transportation and mobility, public realm, and safety. You can visit wayzata.org/Wayzata Corridor Study to learn more. And I should note, this is a study and a plan looking very, very far into the future. This is a 20 to 30-year plan with many elements along the way and cooperation that's going to be required not only at a city level, but also with the county, because the county does own a portion of Wayzata Boulevard. So highlight number 2 for 2023 that we're very proud of is the installation of solar panels on municipal buildings. We have a member of our Energy and Environment Committee here. And so after years of planning and consideration, solar panels were installed on the roof of Public Works and the Muni. We are installing them now in 2024 for City Hall, Fire Station, and the library. The solar project was originally incorporated in the Energy Action Plan in November of 2020, which was created by the Energy and Environment Committee, and the project was approved by the Council in July of 23. This renewable energy project is a big step in sustainability leadership in Wayzata. The Energy and Environment Committee pursued and recommended this project in order to reduce the city's carbon footprint, diversify the energy supply, and save energy costs over time. So that takes us to our next pop quiz question. How much money will the new solar panels save the city over the next 25 years? 61% of you said between $100,000 and $500,000, and then 35% of you said over $800,000. So I'm going to give you the answer in just a moment, but it's approximately 32.9% of our total energy usage within the organization will be offset by solar production, and the city will see a net savings of $853,000 over 25 years. So thank you to the Energy and Environment Committee for that and for all of you. You can learn more about other sustainability initiatives at the city by visiting wayzata.org/sustainability. It takes us to our third highlight, and that's public safety. So Wayzata Police Department increased traffic stops by 74% this year. In 2023, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, Office of Traffic Safety, awarded the Wayzata Police Department with a $92,000 grant for a DWI traffic safety officer. The dedicated officer spent this year, working the peak nights and times, especially in the summer, when data indicated impaired driving was most likely to occur. While primarily seeking to detect and stop impaired drivers, the officer also focused on the dangerous driving behaviors of speeding, distracted driving, and occupant protection, including the use of seatbelts, car seats, booster seats, and also education about driving behaviors as it relates to airbags in vehicles. While the Wayzata Police Department has seen a decrease in traffic complaints overall, there still are complaints, and when there are some, the traffic safety officer has been able to provide education on how the police department handles those concerns. That officer is able to provide real-time feedback on what was discovered and the complaint whether the complaint is factual. This was then shared not only with the person who filed the complaint, but also other officers within the department. The police department received this grant again and will continue this great work in 2024. All right, so tonight a lot of you participated in a live polling activity prior to the program with the boards that we had at the front of the room. One of the questions we asked was about safety in Wayzata. So based on the data we collected, I'm going to ask Chief Schultz what he found based on that poll is your greatest concern. So we'll get him a microphone.
Check. Okay. Jeff's going to grab our board. So wait till he holds it up so I can illustrate our results. But thanks, Jeff. Vanna. So, as no surprise, thank you, first of all, for most of all of you that were able to contribute your opinions to your traffic or your safety concerns in the city. And as most would probably guess, and no surprise, most of you thought that traffic and speeding and noise were the two highest safety concerns. The answer of the night was, I don't have any safety concerns in Wayzata. I love that one, so thank you. But these are no surprise to us, and so as the mayor had mentioned, those are the things that we have been really focusing on over the last year and will continue moving forward.
Great, thank you, Chief Schultz. And thank you to everybody who participated and shared their observations and their thoughts on the issue. Well, we don't just have a police department as first responders, we also have a fire department. And I want to highlight, that our fire department has answered more than 290 calls for service in 2023 with over 15 building fires. They also help lead and host the spectacular Parade of Lights on Lake Street, which is wildly popular, so it's the day after Thanksgiving in November. The wonderfully successful Night to Unite event at the City Showcase, formerly known as Public Safety Day. And you can find out information on how to become a firefighter if you're interested. Highly recommend it in your folder. Or definitely pass it on if you know somebody who might be interested in joining. So before we dive into the looking forward section of tonight's program, if you could please raise your hand and turn in your Q&A slip to Steph. We want to make sure that we're able to get those at this time and get to your questions at the conclusion. If you need another couple of minutes, no worries. Please feel free to fill one out and pass it down to the end of your row. And we still have a few minutes before we get to Q&A. All right. So let's look forward. This is when we meet for our strategic planning sessions. We're not just looking for, 1 year ahead. We're looking several years into the future. And in August, the city council members of the city senior leadership team and a facilitator met for 3 sessions. We wanted to review progress on the city's current strategic plan, discuss what current challenges and opportunities the community is facing that we need to be considering when determining updated priorities and initiatives for the next several years. Overall, the focus will be to rebalance efforts to ensure resident-centered operational excellence and fiscal strength. We had several priorities that came out of those sessions. And those are to diversify revenue, achieve and sustain operational excellence, and sustain community character and safety. We'll break those down a little bit for you. In terms of diversifying revenue, a few themes came out. One, our business and residential property owners have really taken on all of the responsibility over the past few years, thanks to inflation and a growing service demand for everything that we have happening in town, including the number of visitors that come. We are working to establish more equitable revenue sources by exploring more user-based fees rather than just property taxes. So there are a few levers that we've been looking at. Some of those you were asked about today include a food and beverage sales tax, event fees, franchise fees, and several others. We asked you, as part of the live polling activity before the program, which of these levers you preferred and would support. So Aurora, our Deputy City Manager, will share the results.
This was neck and neck. By 1 vote, paid parking is leading, but we're pretty split between food and beverage sales tax and paid parking. Close one.
Aurora, can you speak a little bit to the idea of the food and beverage sales tax, the numbers that came out of the study that we did, and then ultimately kind of what the scope of that is, and the parameters and the process of how we go about that, if we even pursue it.
Yeah,
That was
happy
a
to do
lot.
that, Madam Mayor. If I miss one in there, I'll trust you to remind me.
Sure.
So generally, a food and beverage sales tax is an extra sales tax that would be imposed locally on like our dining establishments. And when we did some research with the University of Minnesota Extension, we found that if we had a 1% food and beverage sales tax imposed, 90% of the people who would pay that tax are people who don't live in Wayzata. And I think that's kind of something we know generally, how many people come come to visit Wayzata. We're such a dining destination, and the data really showed that. So again, as we're looking to diversify our revenue, how do we capture revenue from people who don't live here but who visit here? A food and beverage sales tax, we found, would significantly capture it from people who don't live here. Anything else I missed in your list of questions?
Potential, what was the estimated amount that we thought we could capture through that? And then what's the process if we
yes.
were to pursue it going forward?
Yeah, so back in 2019, I think if we had had a 1% food and beverage sales tax, I think it was about over $750,000 back in 2019. But the process to actually do that, we can't do that just individually as a city. We have to get legislative approval to do that. So we've tried that before, but we're not successful. But the legislature has to say, yes, we'll give you the authority to do that. And then maybe you also have to get a referendum passed by your local agency. So something we'll look into in the future potentially.
So definitely not a short process, any way you
No,
slice
indeed.
or dice it.
No way. Yep.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So paid parking went up by 1 vote, but yeah, what were the other items that were on the other
Madam Mayor,
choices?
the only other one that we listed was franchise fees on utility, which got 0 votes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, one of the other focus then was to achieve and sustain operational excellence. In general, we strive to maintain and enhance our already very high quality customer service. We also wanted to ensure that City Hall was well positioned entering into the 21st century and beyond with technology. For things as simple as phone systems, HR digital recruiting systems, shared IT services. And we're also looking at proactively managing operational risks with succession planning, stay interviews with employees, 360 reviews for our directors, and many more. Our third highlighted area was sustaining community character and safety. Out of that, some sub-themes came out. We wanted to focus on community well-being and safety with a speed limit study, have a thriving commercial core by monitoring the promenade commercial occupancy rates, and explore a full range of housing options by adopting an affordable housing policy and action plan and looking into the Park and Ride site for potential redevelopment. So as we look to all of these things, we need to talk about budgets, right? We all know how this impacts our personal lives, but it affects city operations as well. And as we talked about the budget as a council and with staff, and throughout the budgeting process, which takes on average 6 months. So we start in June and we literally go line by line, area by area for 6 months until we get to a point where we feel that we are covering all the areas that we feel are necessary to run a city efficiently and come up with a tax levy. But we wanted to maintain, through the budget process, maintain our current level of city services. We heard that that was very important for our residents. Restore annual investments towards capital projects. You'll note we have streets with very few potholes, but we also have capital projects like maintaining City Hall. And then invest in new positions and compensation to retain and attract our very best employees. So in 2024, our levy increase was 8.98%. It is the highest it's ever been, certainly in my tenure, not in Wayzata history. I can't speak to that, but definitely on my tenure on the council. And that was driven by a lot of different factors. Providing additional services to the community, our insurance costs, just like for all of you personally, for the city and its employees, and the portion that we pay into it has gone up. Our investment into our employees, as I just mentioned, maintenance and repairs and utilities, we've all felt that as well. And then we had some loss in revenues. Not with our enterprises, but predominantly through our contract with the school. So that was temporarily halted, and I think should be restarted here shortly. You know, other main drivers over the years have been adding staff, mainly to our Parks Department, to make sure that the amenities that we care so deeply about continue to be maintained at a level that we've all come to expect. Additional police officers to ensure that our town remains safe. And again, the cost of inflation that we all felt so deeply. We're about to get to another pop quiz question, and one of those questions is about taxes and where do your taxes go? So the city of Wayzata is just one piece of the pie when it comes to us paying our property taxes. And the question is, what percentage of your taxes are going directly to the city of Wayzata? Yeah, I knew we had smart people. I know. Yes, 19%. So of your entire property tax bill, 19% goes to the city. The remainder goes to many other jurisdictions, including, and important ones. We've got the school district. We've got Hennepin County. We've got, I think, Minnehaha Creek Watershed District. We have probably a few more. If you want to look at the budget in more detail, I encourage you to do so. We included a copy of the budget in a brief for all of you in your folders. And I'm just going to throw this out here since we're talking about this. We have our local Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting. You probably all got your property statement from the county in terms of the proposed assessed value. So that's on April 18th. If you haven't already done so, you would have to reach out to the assessor for that. So if you have questions about that process of the local Board of Appeal and Equalization, we can certainly talk about that after the meeting with any of you. All right. Well, we've done a lot, and we have a lot more to do. But I want to thank you all for attending this evening's program. As I mentioned, our mission is to enhance Wayzata's quality of life. But we want to do so while we preserve its character as a thriving lakeside village, one that we live in, that we work in, and that we shop and we play. And we are all very privileged to do one, if not all of those things every single day. So before we move on to the Q&A portion of today's program, I just want to remind you a few different ways that you can continue to stay engaged. We have the monthly portal newsletter. We have the Wayzata weekly email. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also visit our city website. So if you filled out a Q&A slip, staff Jeff, did we receive any slips? We did? Oh, wonderful, good. All right. So if you fill those out, you pass them out. We will go ahead and organize those so that if we have any duplicates, we have them all together.
Last chance.
Yeah.
And if we get through them all, we'll certainly, if people just raise their hands too.
Absolutely. All right. So before we do we're also going to do a raffle. So I don't know if you knew this, but we do have a raffle. And I have a few quick announcements. And no, council is not allowed to win any of the raffle prizes. All right. Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas after tonight, please use the general feedback form on the website to let us know. We do care. We do want to hear those. Information on that and other ways to connect are in your folder. And we have a lot of really exciting, becomes an incredibly busy time of year in Wayzata, as you all know, but we have some fun city events that are planned. So you have a calendar that's also in your folder, but a few that I want to highlight. We have Earth Day gathering on April 27th on the Panway. It will be from 1 to 3 p.m., and will feature educational speakers from Twin City Seed and the Native Resource Preservation. There will be a drawing for a free rain barrel and a composting bin. So thank you to our Energy and Environment Committee for hosting that. We also have our Arbor Day celebration on May 18th. We just proclaimed on Tuesday night city council meeting Arbor Month. I believe it is the entire month of May in the city of Wayzata. And we are having the Arbor Day event is a kickoff to our annual Dig It Day. So I see a lot of people here who have volunteered for that event. And you can sign up at wayzata.org/volunteer. And after that, residents can meet and pan away to select a free potted tree. You don't have to participate in the volunteering to get a free tree, but we certainly would say thank you if you did. And then we will also have the ability to deliver that tree to your home if needed. So this takes us to one of our fun things, items, and that's the raffle. So I have a number of prizes here, and I think we have also a special prize after I hand these out. So if you could get are these names?
They are names.
Oh, wonderful, okay. So blind, let's see what we can do. Okay, first one is for a $50 wine and spirits, $50 wine and spirits gift card, and that goes to Terry Ray. Yay, congratulations. All right. Our second prize is also a $50 gift card to Wayzata Wine and Spirits. And the winner is Dawn Griffin. Is Dawn here?
John here.
Is Dawn here?
Lefty present to win.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Dawn.
Sorry, Don.
All right, let's try again. So could I see a show of hands? Does everybody know that the Wayzata Wine and Spirits and the Wayzata Bar and Grill are city-owned establishments? Yay. And the profits go back to the city, so we can keep the levy down. So shop, shop, eat, eat. Yes. All right. Rico, Paul. There you are. Wonderful. I know that'll be well used there. Wonderful. As a regular, yes. All right. The third prize is also a Wayzata Wine and Spirits?
Bar and Grill.
Oh, Bar and Grill, pardon me. $100 gift card at the Bar and Grill. I know. All invitations are accepted. Yes, I'm kidding. Terry Hamasek. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. There we go.
Terry, do you have any plans later? Do you have any-
All right, we have one more special raffle. And where is Kevin Castellano? Come on over. Oh my. That's,
The Magnum of Chardonnay.
look at that. It is a Magnum of Chardonnay. I love it. All right, does everybody have your ticket ready? And the winning ticket number is, I should put my glasses on, 62241. Some people had to leave. Oh, was it my delivery?
Do another one.
Okay. Next ticket, 622192. Woo! You're welcome. Congratulations to all of our winners. Well, congratulations again to all the winners. All right, this takes us to our Q&A session. So, City Manager, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And before I begin, I just want to say that I love this image because it really typifies our mayor and the leader of our community. Clearly, this was shot when we were actually having a good day, right, Mayor?
We have a lot of them, but there are tough days.
Yes. All right. Well, classic Wayzata, very engaged, really good questions. Some easy, some really kind of like hot topics. So excited to get into these for, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so. I want to start with one question that has always been bugging me. So I'm kind of being selfish here. If you could just humor me. If you could rank the existing council in like your favorite versus like least favorite, where would that fall, or who would be the first?
Is your review coming up, I think? No, I'm kidding.
All right, Katie, we'll talk offline.
No, as I said, I mean, I have tremendous respect for this council. We have tackled some really tough issues, and I just have a world of respect for them. And you know, they've all come with different levels of experience and different backgrounds, as I said, as elected officials or appointed officials, or I'll just call them civilians, right, that had no experience. But everybody does so with the very best of intentions, and the amount of work, I mean, I didn't realize it until I was on the council, the amount of work and preparation and is really a commitment. And for those of you who don't know, the remuneration, we don't do it for the money. I assure you of that. But it is a tremendous sense of pride to be able to represent such an amazing community and to be creative and innovative and serve. And it is about the service at the end of the day. So it's these individuals.
All right, got that one out of the way. Let's move on to some real heavy-hitting questions here. We'll start with the kind of the gorilla in the room, Panaway, and the boardwalk or the lake walk and everything that we're doing there. Madam Mayor, and I'm happy to help you out with these. What is the final cost of phase 2, and are we over budget?
Yeah, the actual number, are we in at 12?
Yeah, around 12, yep.
Around $12 million. And we are on budget, and we have not exceeded that. We're on time, on budget. We have looked to the Conservancy. So we did have some delays with some materials and some unexpected costs to the tune of about $200,000 to $250,000, somewhere in there. And we were looking at alternatives to be able to stay on budget, but still have the best quality project, a shining example of what Wayzata is and what we expect as a community. And when it came down to the decisions that we had to make, they were really tough ones, and we did not feel that we were going to meet the expectations in terms of materiality. And so the Conservancy came forward and said, we will raise the money to ensure that we have the materials that are of the highest quality and aesthetically pleasing project at the end of the day. So they have come forward and committed that additional money so that we have really just an amazing, amazing project. So I hope I...
Yeah, you nailed that question. One other kind of dovetailing off that question, what amount of bonds were floated for Panaway, for the
I'm
lake
sorry,
walk?
say that.
How much money has the city had to lend or bond for the lake walk?
Great question. So We did get a bond, but it was for TIF money, so it's not money that came out of any taxes or anything. It's kind of like getting a mortgage. We're getting through the bond the money in advance because the TIF monies won't be available for a period of 25 years or so. So it's the money that we need to pay our contractors, our vendors in the here and now, but that bond will be paid through those TIF funds, which came from development down on Lake Street.
Well said. And that actual note was about $6 million, but again, it's being paid for by the new development. It's not being assessed on the existing tax base, which all of you represent.
Correct.
And then one other thing, Madam Mayor, I will say, and I think this is a topic that often gets talked about and maybe misconstrued a little bit in the community. Your taxes that you all pay are as a result of what's needed to run our general city operations. The construction of the Lake Walk and everything else that is built thus far, the actual construction, has never been paid by you in your tax levy. It's always been grants. The Conservancy's been a huge partner. TIF dollars, as you mentioned, and a few other sources, but it's never been your general levy dollars. So we can't say it enough. It's complicated, but I think that's a good just general thing to know, is that your taxes aren't going up because of the construction of the project.
And part of that funding came from generous donors in the community as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I think $1 million or so.
More than that now. The Conservancy's been really successful.
Great.
So yeah. Next question, another hot item here. What are the plans for Meridian Manor and TCF?
Well, how long do we have, folks? No, I'm kidding. Meridian Manor, there will be another application coming forward for, I think the name is Moments of Wayzata. So they were approved. That did not go forward because of some state licensing issues and regulations. And so they need to, they have had to reapply, redesign. They will go to the Planning Commission, and then it will come, the Planning Commission will give a recommendation to the council, and then it will come before us. So wait and, I don't know, stay tuned. Which, it is, well, yes.
The question was if it was senior housing, and it is.
It is, with a memory care facility at the old Meridian Manor, if you're familiar with that location. The second question was with regard to the TCF site. As you may or may not be aware, it has come before the council, just the council, maybe the Planning Commission more than this, but the council 5 times, and or at least, 5, maybe 6. My understanding is that they are still at the drawing board. They were close last time. We indicated they were close, but we had some concerns about some movements, some traffic movements on the site. And they went back to the drawing board on that project as well. In the interim, they sued us, but these things happen. It doesn't change how we approach it. We will approach their application just like any other. What is best for the community in the long term, right? In terms of size, scale, and everything else. So also stay tuned.
Well said. This is a little bit more of a black and white question. Will there be a charge for dock parking by the boats or on the docks?
Yes, we just passed that on Tuesday. So those who come to visit Wayzata and bring their boats, they will be paying for their boat slip at the dock. I think a maximum at this point is up to 3 hours. And depending, there are 2 different fee structures. The smaller boats, and I'm not a boater, I apologize, so I'm not even going to try and guesstimate a size of a boat. But let's just say the smaller size boats, it's like $4 an hour. Larger boats, $6 an hour. And we anticipate generating, it's an estimate because we've never done this before, somewhere in the neighborhood of $55,000 to $83,000 that will go back to the city. So Yes.
Next question. Does the city help with costs concerning our epidemic of diseased trees like oak wilt and ash borer?
Oh, wow. We talked about a lot of this on Tuesday. I think everybody was, yeah.
And we do, just in case, I think you can answer all of it very well, but we do have the city's forester. I call him the Lorax. He speaks for the trees in the house tonight.
I know.
This evening. Bennett, he knows everything about trees. It's awesome.
We like to give nicknames to all of our colleagues. Tree Guy, that's another one. So we have a program established with Rainbow Tree where it's a discount for Wayzata residents. They also provide a discount for Wayzata, our city trees as well. So if you need to treat your tree for some kind of infestation, they do provide a discount. As a council at our workshop, so that's kind of the meeting before the meeting. We don't make any decisions, but we give staff direction. We also talked about opportunities for maybe using some of our funds to provide small grants to individuals to help treat their trees. We feel very strongly about our trees. We implemented a tree preservation ordinance, and so all of those factors in terms of trying to mitigate anything that might otherwise harm our tree canopy, we're exploring, but also in the interest of helping our residents keep the beautiful trees that they have and have come to love.
All right, next question. This is a good one. What accommodations is the city making to address the increase in population, overall activity, traffic, public safety services, et cetera, related to some of the development? In this case, it mentions the Wells Fargo development. And what does the city benefit financially from those developments?
Yeah, in terms of financial benefit, I'll take the first part, and then I'll let you take the other part. In terms of accommodating increase in density, we're not going to see the benefits right away. In terms of, as you know, when you have a property assessed, it's under construction. It's going to be a multi-phase construction. Some of it's commercial, some of it's residential. There's apartments, but they're townhouses. So as that continues to evolve, once the building is complete, the assessor will take a look. They have a deadline of when they file the assessed values, and then the taxes payable will happen the following year. So the city will definitely benefit from the property taxes and the redevelopment of that site. The other part of that is it allows for workforce housing for people to rent apartments who might otherwise live in town. Allow people to continue shopping at Lunds and Byerly's and go to the dry cleaner and maintain a vibrancy in the town that is really critical. We've talked about taxes and budgets. Commercial properties are vital to the sustainability and vitality of our city. Not only is it a nice convenience, but they pay the lion's share of the property taxes as well. When that goes away, that burden shifts to the residents for residential property owners. So those are some of the financial benefits. Any others that I may have missed?
Madam Mayor, the only other one I would add is that any residential development, they have to pay what's called a park dedication fee, and that really goes to the impact that the residents will have on our park system. So, for example, Wells Fargo, this is a fair amount of money. It was $500,000 that they had to pay to our park system so we can use for future park improvements. So that's one of the big benefits. In terms of the other part of the question was just the overall burden's a harsh word, but impact that the development has on the city. Office and banking has very little in terms of demand on city services. An apartment building has more, but I will say it's more than offset by the revenue that's brought in through taxes to pay for police, fire, admin, community development, all that sorts of thing. What really drives activity and services are honestly the commercial activity in the restaurant. So a 65 unit apartment building, you're going to see you're going to have a lot less impact on traffic and all those other things than a busy restaurant on a Saturday night. So comparatively speaking, I would say that the additional activity in that area, just because of the people that live there, will be negligible.
Very good. I think we have time for one more.
One more. Oh, I've got to make it a
It's
good one.
already 6:30. I've kept everybody too long. It's kind of like how our city council meetings go.
Well, this one's an easier one. Many trees, getting back to trees, were cut down, and everyone sees this every day when they're coming in and coming out of the city. Were cut down on Wayzata Boulevard. Is there plans to replace those trees?
Yes. Yes. We were impacted as a city, Emerald Ash Borer, and we have, I believe, a bid already. We haven't seen it yet, but a bid to replace those trees. So yes, we take it very seriously. I mean, not only for our residents and how a development site, residential property, how they're managing on trees, what can be taken down and not taken down, but we apply the same rules to ourselves. So if we take down a tree, we're going to replace that tree and do what we can to keep them healthy. And we just recognize it is such, as you drive around the metro area, and you go to communities that don't have the tree canopy, they don't have the softscape that we are fortunate to have, it changes. It changes the feel, it changes the mood, it changes the environment. So, yes, we love our trees.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all very much for your questions. I know we did not get to them all. So we will have a member of staff contact you. If you did not put your telephone number or your name and email address on the slip of paper and you would like someone to reach out to you with an answer to your question, please track one of us down so that we can get that information and follow up as soon as possible. So thank you again for being here. Really appreciate your time, and see you soon.
You're a falling star, you're the getaway car, you're the line in the sand when I go too far.